SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students, you are welcome in this class. I am Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Principal Scientist, Division of Agronomy, ICAR, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, Pusa Campus, New Delhi. This lecture belongs to the course Agronomy of Oilseed, Fiber and Sugar Crops. The title of this lecture is Adaptability, Climate, Soil and Cultural Requirement and Post-Harvest Management of Jute Crop. Learning objectives of this lecture are to get acquainted with the adaptability. Adaptability means what are the conditions where it is adaptable, and climatic conditions means under what relative humidity, under what temperature this crop succeeds better, and then what kind of soils are the best for cultivation of jute, and followed by cropping system, different intercropping system, crop sequences, they will be discussed. And finally, you will also see the cultural practices, harvesting and post-harvest management of jute crop. So, some glossary. Acidic soils. Acid soils are those that have a pH value of less than 5.5 for most of the year. Means in practical sense, soils having a pH value of 5.5 or lower are acidic soils. Broadcast sowing, a traditional method of sowing seeds. Farmers sow seeds by randomly scattering on land while walking around the field. So, these are the practices of seed sowing. However, broadcasting in many cases is not recommended. Particularly in case of jute also, it is better to go for row sowing or line sowing. Coarse textured soils. Coarse textured soils are mostly sandy soils which have large pore space. The pore size is larger than clay soil or medium textured soils that do not hold water tightly. Therefore, the water holding capacity of coarse textured soil is low. ESP. ESP is exchangeable sodium percentage. So, it measures the proportion of cation exchange sites occupied by the sodium. You might be knowing about the cation exchange capacity. The amount of total cation that a 100 gram soil can hold is cation exchange capacity. So, what proportion of this is occupied by sodium? That is your exchangeable sodium percentage. Floodplain, an area of land that alongside a river. This area gets covered in water when the river floods. Germination, with respect to seed, process by which a plant grows from a seed into a seedling is called as germination. Intercropping, growing two or more crops simultaneously in a same field in definite row pattern is called as intercropping. You must have heard intercropping of sugarcane, intercropping of cotton. Similarly, this jute crop can also be intercropped with certain crops. For example, you can plant certain legumes in the intercrop. Land equivalent ratio, LER, ratio of area under sole cropping to area under intercropping needed to give equal amounts of yield at same management level. That is your land equivalent ratio. It tells the profitability of intercropping systems. So, for example, if the ratio is 1, then neither loss nor profit. If it is less than 1, then it is loss. If LER is more than 1, that means intercropping system is profitable. Mixed cropping, growing two or more crops on the same piece of land simultaneously is mixed cropping. Paracrop, seed of succeeding crops like lentil or linseed, etc. are broadcast in maturing jute or rice crop. Means in the standing crop, when it is about to mature, so few weeks before maturity, seed of certain crops is broadcast into the soil, and then later on harvesting can be done, and by the time harvesting is done, the crop germinate, the seed, it comes to the seedling stage. It saves times, it saves resources, particularly plowing expenses are reduced. So such kind of cropping is called as para or Utera cropping. Rain-fed upland, lands where aerobic soil environment exists for major period of crop growth and development. So here there is no stagnation of water. However, in rain-fed lowlands, water stagnation can happen mainly because of poor drainage. However, in rain-fed upland systems, the subsurface drainage is very fast. Therefore, accumulation of water on the earth surface or soil surface is not there. Red soil, they are red because of presence of ferric oxide. It gives them red color and found in east and southern parts of Deccan Plateau, Odisha and Chhattisgarh. Then seedling, very young plant that has grown from a seed. Means plant emerging from the seed is called as seedling. Short day plant, plant that requires a long period of darkness is called as short day plant. Actually, they require more night period or long night period. Short day plants flowers when day length is usually less than 12 hours. Strip cropping, cultivation in which different crops are sown in alternate strips to prevent erosion. Weather, state of atmosphere including temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity, precipitation and cloud cover are part of the weather or day-to-day changes. Now let us see the adaptability and climatic requirement of jute crop. So commercial jute cultivation is mainly restricted between 80° 18' east to 92° east and 19° 24' north to 26° 30' north. This is your latitude in Indo-Bangladesh subcontinent. Jute requires a warm and humid climate. Warm and humid climate with temperature fluctuating between 24 to 37 degrees centigrade and optimum being 34 degrees centigrade. So such kind of higher temperature, higher humidity are basically available mostly in West Bengal part. So therefore, this jute is mainly confined to or primarily confined to West Bengal, where we have highest area of jute in India. Jute requires diurnal variation in relative humidity between 60 to 90% favors the growth. Means it needs more hot and humid kind of climate. However, low temperature generally below 17 degrees centigrade and relative humidity below 19% often induce premature flowering, which severely affects growth. So therefore, low temperature and low humidity are not good for this crop. It may bring early or faster flowering or faster maturity. That means the yield of fiber will reduce. Alternative sunshine and rainy days are most conducive to the growth. Susceptible to waterlogging. Part in early stage capsularis varieties can withstand water stagnation in later growth stages. Means this capsularis up to some extent can tolerate waterlogging, particularly at later stage of crop growth. But Olitorius or Tosa jute, it is highly susceptible to waterlogging. Jute is crop of humid tropical monsoon climate and growth is favored by humid and warm or to hot weather conditions. The crop is a short day plant. Jute can be grown in areas where minimum temperature remains 15 degrees centigrade and maximum remains up to 43 degrees centigrade. So these are the limits of temperature. That range is 15 to 43 degrees centigrade. And of course, this is the range, but this is not the best range. Best temperature may be different, maybe in between these two temperatures. So a temperature of 18 to 35 degrees centigrade with relative humidity of more than 80% is best for the growth. Overall, 18 to 35 degrees centigrade temperature. Crop cannot withstand waterlogging at seedling stage. at high temperature 32 degrees centigrade, crop height as well as basal diameter increases, means it is loving relatively higher temperature, particularly at 32 degrees centigrade its diameter increases. Annual rainfall of around 1000 to 1500 millimeter favors luxuriant growth of the crop. So therefore, it cannot be cultivated under dry land condition. You need lot of water, lot of humidity. Therefore, rainfall requirement is 1000 to 1500 millimeter per year. Pre-monsoon showers of about 120 to 150 millimeter during mid-March to mid-April or to early April ensures adequate soil moisture for land preparation, sowing and uniform germination. That means by chance if we get rains before the monsoon starts, then it favors the sowing of this crop and it favors the land preparation also. After above showers, a dry spell of 30 to 40 degrees centigrade 40 days preceding the onset of monsoon enables the essential weeding and thinning operations to be carried out. Subsequently, with the onset of monsoon, about 1200 to 1300 millimeter rainfall coupled with intermittent bright sunshine results in better growth of the crop. It is not that altogether you need cloudy climate or cloudy weather. It has to be intermittent sunshine, because we know sunshine or light is necessary for photosynthesis. Brighter the light, more is the photosynthesis. Oleatorious jute is in general is more responsive to shorter light periods for flowering than capsularis jute. Now you can see the meteorological threshold in different growth stages of jute. What are the best and what are not the best for this. So in this case you can see favorable weather, temperature is 18 to 35 degrees centigrade. Relative humidity is 60 to 90%. For germination, temperature is 15 to 25 degrees centigrade. Unfavorable weathers are when the temperature exceeds more than 43 degrees centigrade and below 15 degrees centigrade. That should not be there. And if relative humidity is less than 60%, it is not favorable for the growth, particularly germination. Minimum temperature is less than 10 and maximum temperature is 32 degrees centigrade. And it is also interesting that seedling cannot tolerate the waterlogging, maybe for capsularis as well. And short day length plant and sunshine hours are 3 to 8.5 hours. Optimum rainfall around 1000 to 1500 millimeter and water requirement overall is 95 to 310 millimeter. Humid, warm to hot weather is really favorable for this crop. Now let us see different jute growing zone in India. They have been divided broadly into three zones: northeastern region, eastern region and southeastern region. Northeastern region include Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland and Tripura. Eastern region include West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and Jharkhand. Southeast region include Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. So these are the major jute growing states or regions. Basically it is crop of West Bengal, Assam, Bihar and Odisha. Now let us check the soil requirement. It can be successfully cultivated in soils ranging from clay to sandy loam. Although loamy alluvial soils are particularly well suited to jute crop. Unsuitable soil types include laterite and gravel soil, which is not fit for cultivation of jute crop. Most favorable soil is new grey alluvium soil. Alluvial soil, a student might be knowing what is alluvial soil. These soils have been developed by when the soil matter has been transported by water and it has been accumulated into the plains. So it is basically characterized by substantial depth and enriched with silt from annual floods. Soils with EC more than 2 decisiemens per meter. Decisiemen is the unit of electrical conductivity, which is decisiemen per meter. So it should not be more than 2 decisiemens per meter. Exchangeable sodium should not be more than 15%, and in those cases it may not be suitable. Successful jute cultivation is observed in old alluvials in Bihar, mildly acidic soil in Assam and Odisha, and light alkaline soils in Tarai districts of Uttar Pradesh. Specifically, clay loam is preferred for Corchorus capsularis, while sandy loam is ideal for Corchorus olitorius, because this Corchorus olitorius cannot tolerate waterlogging, particularly in initial stages. So therefore, sandy soil may fit for olitorius jute or Tosa jute. Major part of jute growing tracts comprise alluvial soil, which is observed in floodplains of the rivers like Ganges, Koshi, Brahmaputra, Teesta, Damodar and Mahanadi in West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. Because those areas, the soils are also good, and also you find these soils are fertile. So such kind of soils are suitable. Alluvial soils in jute growing tracts are mostly observed in the state of West Bengal, Bihar, Assam and Odisha. Soils are usually acidic to neutral in nature with a pH value of 5.5 to 7.3. Mostly these soils also develop in high rainfall areas. Organic carbon between 4.2 to 12 gram per kg. Low to medium in nitrogen, low to very high in phosphorus and medium in potassium content. Overall, relatively, these soils are fertile. Electrical conductivity of alluvial soil of the jute growing tract varies from 0.21 to 0.89 decisiemens per meter. Red and laterite soil of jute growing belts are confined in parts of Birbhum, Bardhaman, Bankura, Purulia, Midnapur and in parts of West Dinajpur in West Bengal. Means there are many districts where these kind of red and laterite soil are also found in West Bengal. Nagaon and southern Kamrup in Assam and Kendrapara area in Odisha. So these are the areas where red and lateritic soils are found. Overall, most soils are acidic with low organic matter, low cation exchange capacity and high phosphorus fixation capacity, are low to very low in available NPK. So main problem in those soils may be of phosphorus fixation, because as our soils become acidic, they fix more of phosphorus. Phosphorus can be fixed in the form of aluminum phosphate and iron phosphate. So in jute growing tracts of West Bengal, elytic clay minerals are dominant, followed by kaolinite, while Montmorillonite clay is observed to a very limited extent. Thereby the cation exchange capacity of these soils is low, because they contain less of Montmorillonite clay and more of elite and kaolinite clays. Soil acidity, coarse texture and poor water retention capacity of soil are major factors limiting fiber yield of jute in north part of West Bengal. Another problem is the deficiency of sulfur had also been recorded in some parts of the jute growing soils of southern Bengal as well as part of North Bengal, and had also been identified as a reason for low fiber yield in those areas. So sulfur deficiency is really important, and it has mainly happened because of leaching of sulfate, and there may be sometimes volatilization of sulfur also, and also crop uptake and intensive cropping, etc., etc. There are number of reasons for sulfur deficiencies in these areas. Now let us check the cropping systems, and jute is one of the most suitable crop to fit in crop rotations, because mainly it is of shorter duration. Since maturity period of crop is variable, and accordingly it can be fitted in different crop rotations. Besides, shading of jute leaves improves soil fertility. After harvest, field remains clean, that is really advantage, because it also acts as a smoothing crop. So the weed growth is suppressed after the seedling stage, and hence the soil will remain weed free. This is added advantage of jute to fit in crop rotation. Promising location-specific jute-based cropping sequences had been identified for both rain-fed as well as irrigated conditions. Under rain-fed upland conditions, some of the remunerative crop sequences identified are given in the next slide. So you can check these rotation for rain-fed conditions. So North and South Bengal, so jute lentil is a good cropping system, jute black gram, jute green gram and jute thoria. So these are promising cropping systems for North and South Bengal under rain-fed conditions. For Assam, jute black gram thoria or jute black gram wheat, jute rice thoria and jute thoria. For Odisha and Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, jute mustard cowpea. So jute can be taken, say it can start in summer or partly in the rainy season, and then mustard can be taken in Rabi season and cowpea in summer season or in Jaya season. So rain-fed lowland ecology of West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh, jute rice lentil is quite common rotation, and in the Euteria cultivation or para cultivation of lentil can be accomplished in rice. Now let us check the cropping system for irrigated condition. So important jute-based crop sequences for irrigated conditions are: for North and South Bengal, jute rice potato, jute rice vegetables; for Assam, jute rice mustard; for Katihar in Bihar, jute rice potato, or it may be jute rice wheat, or it can be jute rice pea, and then jute rice wheat, jute radish, jute onion, jute barsim, etc., etc. Means certain vegetable crops can also succeed the jute crop. See relay crop of green gram and moth bean in jute based cropping system. You can check these pictures. Now you see para crop of lentil on the left side. So here you can see the rice was grown. In the standing crop of rice, lentil seed were broadcast, say before 15 to 20 days of harvest, and this is the crop of lentil, Euteria or para crop of lentil. On the right side you can see the mung bean crop growing well. Mixed cropping is also followed. So mixed cropping of jute, amaranth. Amaranth can be of two types. It is a vegetable, leafy vegetable, red and white. And summer radish recorded 3.6 ton per hectare of jute fiber, 1.9 to 2.9 ton per hectare of red amaranth. After 21 days of emergence, it was harvested, and then 0.7 to 0.9 ton per hectare white amaranth and 0.57 to 0.9 ton per hectare of summer radish under irrigated conditions. So you can say that 3-4 mixed cropping can be done, and in this case it is advantageous. Above mixed cropping led to additional net return of rupees 4,000 per hectare at Barakpur. Intercropping of green gram with jute is also possible, and it can be done in 1:1 ratio. That means one row of jute and one row of this green gram. Sown during second fortnight of March, it gave 3 to 3.5 ton per hectare of jute, and this is with respect to fiber yield 3 to 3.5 ton per hectare, along with 0.6 to 1 ton per hectare of pulse grain. 0.6 to 1 ton means 600 to 1000 kilogram per hectare of green gram yield, and system jute yield equivalent was about 5.5 tons per hectare of jute fiber compared to 3.5 ton per hectare of jute fiber when it was taken as sole. So you can see that there is advantage of legume intercropping or green gram intercropping in the jute crop. We know it adds to the nitrogen to the soil. There is some current transfer of nitrogen from the associated legume to the associated crop. So it must have transferred that nitrogen. Another advantage is that mung bean can have a smoothing effect on the weeds. So it can suppress the weed growth. Now you can see the fantastic crop of jute on the left side, and with pulse you can see the mung bean is there in this. Now you can see intercropping system of jute and amaranth. It is red amaranth. You can see the green. The green one is your jute crop, and in between two rows you can find amaranth. Red amaranth, it is leafy vegetable. Now, strip cropping of jute with pulses like cowpea, green gram, black gram and rice bean can be done, and jute can be taken 80% and intercrop 20% area, means 8:2 ratio of area at Barakpur, West Bengal, and they shown that the jute plus black gram 3.368 ton per hectare gave maximum jute equivalent yield, followed by jute plus rice bean 3.317 compared to sole jute. So here the main message is it is better to take intercrop like black gram or rice bean in place of sole jute, because intercropping is most of the time it is advantageous. In seed crop of jute, Rabbani and Islam 1996 from Bangladesh did trial on intercropping of jute with green gram, cowpea and amaranthus. These were the three crop: green gram, cowpea and amaranthus. So you can see ratios were 2:1, 2:2, 3:1 and 3:2. That means 3:2 means 3 rows of jute and 2 rows of component crop. Here in this case it was amaranthus. So they recorded land equivalent ratio of more than 1. As I have already told you, if ratio is more than 1, that means it is profitable intercropping system. And jute plus green gram intercrop 3:2 perform better in terms of system equivalent yield and return. Similarly, at Kishoreganj, Bangladesh, intercropping of chili with seed jute, because many times farmers also take seed crop. So in seed crop chili was taken, and chili had 90% area and jute has 10% area. So gave the highest chili equivalent yield 3.7 tons per hectare. Net benefit was 1,11,736 taka per hectare. Taka is currency of Bangladesh, and benefit cost ratio was 2.52. It is reported by Mullah and co-workers 2016. So therefore, there is possibility of taking certain vegetable or spices kind of crops in jute crop. It was also reported that jute plus red amaranthus intercropping gave maximum benefit cost ratio 11.8, means if you invest 1 rupee, you can earn 11.8 rupees, followed by jute plus radish intercropping. In this, the BC ratio was 9.38. So you can see it is really highly profitable intercropping system. These improved crop sequences had certainly sustained the stability of the production system in different jute growing areas. However, newer crop components need to be tried in course of time, taking into consideration the climatic suitability as well as the local acceptance of the component crop. It means we require to do more research. We need to identify more intercrop that fits better in this jute crop. Now let us see the major cultural practices or cultural requirement of jute crop. We start with land preparation, which is very, very important. In case of jute, the seed size is very small, and if the seed size is small, then we should have good soil tilth. Good land preparation of fine seed bed is required for jute crop. So the first step in land preparation is to clear field of any weeds, rock or debris. Removing unwanted vegetation minimizes competition for nutrients, water and sunlight, because weeds definitely compete for all these three resources: nutrient, water, sunlight, and one more, that is space. Due to small size of jute seed, it is essential to have a finely prepared seed bed. It has to be having good tilth. It helps loosen soil, allowing jute plants' roots to penetrate and establish more easily. Field prepared by plowing and then cross harrowing 3 to 5 times and followed by planking. Planking is necessary to level the field so that we can get higher water use efficiency. In acidic soils, pH being less than 6, incorporate 1 to 1.5 tons per hectare lime 30 to 40 days before sowing. So it is really necessary because most of the jute growing soils may be acidic in nature. So if pH is below 6, then you need to correct it by adding lime. Furthermore, maintaining soil moisture 21 to 45% is optimal for ensuring proper germination. So there has to be good moisture percentage at the time of germination of the crop. Let us check the sowing time of jute crop. So sowing is subject to regional variation. It is not fixed that this is the deadline for sowing. It varies with the climatic conditions, it varies with the soils, and it also varies with the region. So sowing is subject to regional variations, onset of pre-monsoon showers, presence of residual moisture in soil, and jute variety. So number of variables can determine the exact or optimum time of sowing for a particular condition. Crop mostly sown under rain-fed situation, and often sowing gets delayed due to late onset of pre-monsoon showers. So most of the jute growing areas are rain-fed. Therefore, sowing time will also determined by the start of the monsoon. If monsoon starts early, early sowing can be done. If monsoon is late, sowing can be delayed. Crop usually white jute is sown around mid-March, while Tosa jute can be sown between end of March to mid-April depending upon the soil moisture. That means capsularis or white jute is sown early and Tosa jute is sown late. Oleaginous jute varieties like JRO 204, CO 58, JRO 2407, JBO 2003H, S19, JRO 128, JRO 524, AAU OJ1 having premature flowering resistance can be sown from mid-March to mid-April. So this is important, means normally oleaginous varieties are sown late, but certain varieties that have been developed and they are resistant to premature flowering. So these kind of varieties can sown a little early also, say from mid-March to mid-April. Early sowing in normal rainfall years allows early transplanting of almond paddy. So paddy crop may not be delayed. That is the advantage of early planting or early sowing of jute. Tosa jute varieties JRO 632, JRO 8432, JRO 3690, JRO 66, KRO 4, BCC of 6 are suitable for late sown conditions also. White jute varieties JRC 321, JRC 517, NDC 2008 and AAU CJ 2 can be sown in parts of North Bengal, Assam, Bihar and UP during first fortnight of March with the help of early pre-monsoon shower or retained moisture in soil. If there is residual moisture in soil or some pre-monsoon showers, then sowing can be done during the first fortnight of March. So which may be considered as timely sowing or little early sowing. Now seed selection is also important. The healthy seed will give healthy seedlings and healthy seedlings may result in healthy plant. So therefore seed has to be healthy. It needs to be free from insect, pest and diseases. It should not be shriveled seed or it should have a right moisture percentage in it so that germination can be better. So choosing seeds free from impurities and contaminants. Seeds of uniform size and color, clean and well formed and should be used. Another important point is that seed should be genetically pure. Seed of other varieties should not be mixed in the variety you are going to do sowing. Select the best jute variety for your region as per need and suitability. Seed selection sets foundation for optimum yields and quality. Therefore, due care must be paid in the selection of the variety and also selection or choice of the seed. Seed has to be healthy. Let us see different sowing methods and seed rate of jute crop. So, under conventional practices, farmers broadcast seed immediately after pre-monsoon shower to ensure proper germination. So, scattering of seed on the surface of the soil and then they mix it into the soil. This kind of method is not very scientific because in this case some seed may be placed deeper and some seed may remain very shallow. So, germination percent can be affected under such conditions, and also there may be some difficulties in doing cultural operation like weed control and other kind of operations. So, therefore, it is desirable to go for line sowing or sowing in rows. The desired plant population in jute field is normally say 4.5 to 6 lakh plant per hectare. Too much or too less population is not ideal. It should not be less than 4.5 and should not be more than 6 lakh per hectare. These are the optimum ranges. Seed rate in broadcast jute is 6 to 8 kg per hectare for Tosa jute, oleatorious jute, and 8 to 10 kg for white jute. So, white jute is your capsularis jute. Higher seed rate under broadcasting is done to increase pressure exerted by emerging seedlings which help in cracking the topsoil. Extra seedlings in broadcast crop need to be thinned out to maintain desirable plant population. So, many times there can be more plant population in broadcast method because seed rate is too high. So, there is requirement of thinning to remove the extra plants. Thinning should be done when plants are 10 to 12 centimeter tall, thereby adding to cost of intercultural operation. So, it is always advisable to go for line sowing. Further, uneven plant population and higher plant density reduce the overall fiber yield by 10 to 15%, means you will get less yield under broadcast method than line sown method. So, row cropping is advantageous as it facilitates intercultural operations and also helps in reducing competition among the jute plant because plant population is uniformly distributed throughout the soil or throughout the land. But in case of broadcasting, there may be more density of plants in certain part of the land and there may be thin density in another area of the land. So, therefore, there is no uniform plant population in case of broadcast sown crop. Row spacing of oleatorious and capsularis jute is 25 to 30 centimeter. So, this is the recommended spacing 25 and 30 centimeter. That means, for oleatorious 25 and for capsularis 30 centimeter row to row spacing. Plant to plant space needs to be manually adjusted to 5 to 7 centimeter. It is plant to plant distance. Depth of sowing should not exceed 3 to 4 centimeter as it may disturb the proper emergence of the seedlings. Line sowing using Krijef multi-row seed drill. So, Krijef is actually Jute Institute, ICR Institute located in Barakpur, West Bengal. So, a full form of Krijef is Central Research Institute on Jute and Allied Fibers. So, they have got one multi-row seed drill, or its improved version is also available, which they call Jute Seeder. It requires seed rate of 2.5 to 3 kg per hectare. So, you have seen in case of broadcast it was too high, maybe 8 kg, 10 kg per hectare, but here the seed rate is reduced, or you can say seed cost is reduced, which is just 2.5 to 3 kg per hectare, and it reduces seed requirement by 50%. So, these seeders are also reduce labor requirement for weeding and thinning by 55 to 60 man days per hectare compared to broadcasting, because in broadcasting it is time consuming job to remove weeds. So, it takes around 110 to 115 man days per hectare. But when you have done it in sowing, the man days requirement for weeding is less, 15 to 60 man days per hectare. Facilitate intercultural operation, increases fiber yield by 15 to 20% and provide additional earning of rupees 6,000 to 6,500 rupees per hectare to the farmer, means it is advantageous. These deals save seed, ensures depth of placement, germination and reduced cost of sowing and weeding. So these kind of data have been reported by Kirchhoff Institute. You can see the Kirchhoff manual multi-row seed drill. It is very simple and cheaper equipment. You can see one man can do sowing here. On the other side also you can see how sowing can be done with multi-row seed drill. So it is really good and simple machine. Now see the harvesting, how harvesting can be done before we go for retting of fiber or separation of fiber. So harvesting is important step and it is usually harvested at the age of 120 days, means 120 days after sowing. Finer fibers of good quality are obtained when crop is harvested early, while late harvesting gives a higher yield but coarser fibers. So we need to make a compromise. Compromise between quality and quantity is found in harvesting crop at early pod stage, which is about 50% flowering or 110 days of cropping. So that is the ideal stage or ideal time for harvesting of the jute crop. Harvesting is done by cutting the plants at or close to the ground level. Harvested plants are left in the field for 2 to 3 days for leaves to shed. So shedding of leaf is required as the shed leaves add significant amount of nutrients to the soil. So that is why the soil fertility can improve by adding the leaves of the jute plant. Next, the plants are tied into bundles of 20 to 25 centimeter in diameter and branching tops are lopped off to rot in fields to add nutrients to the soil. So you can see how harvesting is being done. You can use sickle for harvesting. After harvesting, see in the first picture, and then you can see in the second picture, the person is tying the bundles, making the bundles, and then they are stacked in vertical position. You can see this is drying, and then the leaves will fall. Leaves will fall and they will be added to the soil. Now let us check the post-harvest management of this crop. So post-harvest management, the first step is retting and then fiber extraction and then grading. So as you know that fiber of this crop is attached or associated with the stem. It is on the stem which is required to be removed, but it is not that easy to remove this fiber. So what can be done? Retting is required to separate the fiber. However, now some modern machines are available that can strip the green fiber and then retting can be done. So it can be done either way, but most common practice is that first retting is done and then fiber is separated manually. And we will also see the grading, how the grading is done in case of jute fiber. Retting is a process of separation and extraction of fiber from non-fibrous woody part of stem through decomposition of cementing material. So you need to separate because it is very tightly attached to the wood. Retting is an important determinant of fiber quality in jute as well as its market price. During retting, combined action of water and microbes decompose pectins, gums and other mucilaginous substances and separates the fiber. So because of these materials, the fiber is very tightly attached to the wood or attached to the stem part. So these are to be decomposed, then you can easily separate the fiber. So initially aerobic microbes are active, while during middle to later phase anaerobic microbes dominate. which distributes majority to decomposition in which contributes majority to decomposition in rating. So initially there are aerobic microbes and then anaerobic microbes dominate, which do the job of rating. Some efficient bacterial strains initiating the rating: Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus polymixa, Bacillus mesentericus, Bacillus pumilus, Bacillus cereus, Bacillus megaterium and Bacillus macerans. So number of bacterial species are there that initiate the job of rating. And then there are number of fungi also who are doing this job. It includes Penicillium species, Aspergillus species, Macrophomina species, Chaetomium species, Phoma species and Mucor species. These are important fungi associated with rating of jute crop. Gently flowing, fairly deep, clear and soft water is ideal for rating producing good quality fiber. As many of the students might be knowing that rating is done in water. So you can take the bundles of the jute crop and then submerge them in the water. You need to put some weight over these bundles so that they do not come to the surface of the water, and then you also need to cover them to make mostly this anaerobic conditions, and it is always better to get some good quality water. So gently flowing, fairly deep, clear and soft water is ideal for rating producing good quality fiber. Gently flowing, it should not be so fast in rivers or in places. It should be very slow movement of water. However, under present situation, jute is mostly rated in stagnant water in ponds, ditches and other water bodies which are common in West Bengal. Reeds are actually stems, are ready for extraction when fiber becomes loose and can be easily peeled out. Crop age, fertilizer application, nature of covering, used in rating, pH and temperature of rating water and volume of water etc. affect quality and efficiency of rating. Younger plants rate faster than older ones as content of cementing materials pectin, hemicellulose more in older plants. Again, fiber loss is more in younger plant. That is interesting. Thus, ideal harvesting age is between 100 and 120 days to get good quality of the fiber. Higher dose of nitrogen hastens rating process and reduces rating duration, while reverse happen in case of phosphorus application. So nutrient application or nutrients are also affecting the speed of its rating in this case. Addition of easily decomposable organic sources of nitrogen like dhencha plants during rating promotes growing of rating microbes. So these microbes also require food for their activity, and these leguminous plants like dhencha or sesbania are rich in nitrogen. So therefore microbial growth is fast, their multiplication is fast. Jute bundles when immersed in water are usually covered for proper rating. Use of mud and banana stem as weighing agent reduce fiber quality. Tannic acid in banana plants react with iron in water or mud, producing ferrous tannate and give a blackish color to fiber known as shamala. So therefore, care must be taken in this case. If you do not want such kind of coloring of fiber, then banana plant should not be used. This can be avoided through use of wooden or cement poles as weighing material and water hyacinth, dhencha and sunhump plants as covering material. Slow moving, clean and soft water facilitates rating and improves fiber quality as it removes decomposed products without disturbing activity of rating microbes. So it is better that mild flow water should be there. Soft water with low salts, iron and calcium content provides better rating of jute. Ideal situation for rating under conventional method is obtained when plant is to water volume is 1:20. This is the ratio, and bundles kept at about 15 centimeter water depth. If you take too much deep these bundles, then conditions will become very, very anaerobic. Retting is found to be faster under acidic pH conditions. Optimum temperature for retting is around 34 degrees centigrade and process is delayed with fluctuation from this temperature. In conventional retting, bundles kept standing in water 30 centimeter deep for initial 2 to 3 days to soften hard basal region and facilitate uniform retting. Later on, bundles placed horizontally, means initially they are vertical and then they are placed horizontally. On 2 to 3 layers can be made, horizontal layers tied together, weighed down and kept submerged at least 10 centimeter below the water surface with a suitable cover. Now you can see how these bundles are kept on the water surface and they are required to be immersed in the water. You need to put weight on these bundles and also cover these bundles and put them at least 10 centimeter below the surface of the water, and this is how retting process is done. In this method, retting process completed within 18 to 21 days when water temperature is about 34 degrees centigrade. Incomplete submergence produces croppy fibers of extremely low value. So there has to be complete submergence. Most defect in fibers are due to faulty retting. Over retting result in dazed, weak fibers. So there has to be right kind of optimum kind of retting. Now we go to the fiber extraction. There are two methods, manual extraction and mechanical extraction. So you can see manual method means a person or man or woman, or you can say labor will remove the fiber using hands manually. And fiber when extracted separately from each reed is actually stem with fingers is sleek, clean and free from entanglement. Means here the quality of fiber is better. By beat and break jerk method, you can beat it on a stone on some place, hard place, and then give some jerk and remove the fiber. So 10 or 12 reeds taken at a time and their stiffer root ends beaten with a mallet. Bundles then broken in middle and fiber are loosened. By gripping the loosened fiber in middle, broken bundle is jerked in water so that sticks slip off. So this is the way you can be more efficient. But again, if you do it in group, take 5, 10, 20 kind of reeds, then the quality is not good because fiber get intermingled. So fiber then washed in clean water, wrung and eventually spread to dry, preferably in shade or mild sun. The second method often leaves broken sticks and makes fibers entangle, resulting in sticky fiber. Therefore, this method, this jerking, beat break jerk is not good because you can find broken sticks and you can also find sticky fibers entangled to each other. Conventional method is labor intensive, 90 to 100 labors per hectare, and stripping of fiber done by standing inside foul water for long hours, which is really not humane kind of practice. Now, mechanical extraction of fiber means by machine. So, extraction of fiber from green stem with a decorticator followed by a short period of retting has proved successful. So, here you can see that first you need to remove the fiber from the green plant and then go for retting. So, here green ribbons are extracted from jute plants immediately after harvest using manual or power operated bass fiber extractor. By extracting the green ribbons, volume of jute plants reduce and total green weight reduced by 50 to 55%. You can see the pictures of these machines, pictorial view of jute fiber extraction machine of KP model here, and jute fiber extraction by developed ash coal machine name. Water requirement for retting is also significantly reduced if you go for this, and ribbons can be ratted within 5 to 7 days. So it saves time. The capacity of power operated extraction machine is much higher than the manually operated one. Mechanical extraction followed by ribbon ratting, quality of fiber improved by 2 grades, and net return also increases to 3,000 to 4,500 rupees per hectare. So use of machine saves times and it also increases income. Grading of fiber is also important in India. To enable cultivators to get proper price for their fiber, Bureau of Indian Standards had introduced an Indian standard for grading of raw jute and mesta based on its quality. So student, you must have seen that grading is very important part of marketing strategy. If you want to get more profit, you need to grade your agricultural produce. See, when you buy apple, there may be smaller apple, medium apple, big apple. So grading helps to fetch more price. Same applies to fiber also. Here you make different grades of quality to get more profit. So the Indian standard adopted by BS was first published in 1950 and was subsequently revised in 1969, 1975, 87, 2003, and latest one was revised in 2020. So, and you can see the grading system here. So, need strength to break the fiber and sharp audible sound at these are different references. So, score can be 30 for this. For defect, score can be 25. For root content, score can be 20. For fineness, score is 15. And for color, the score is 10. So, overall out of 100, what marks each category is allotted. So, you can see different categories. First categories is TD1 or W1. So, here 17, 15, 15, 10, total marks are 80. When 80 marks are achieved by a fiber, it falls in the category of TD1 or W1. Next, when it receives 60 marks, it is TD2 or W2. Next, 40 marks. 40 marks means TD3 or W3. And then only 20 marks, very poor quality of the fiber, and it is your TD4 or W4. And there is also TD5 and or W5, entrangled or any other jute not suitable for any of the above grades. So, you have seen there are 5 different grades of fiber in case of jute. The best gets 80 marks and the poorest gets 20 marks. So, this is how quality of jute is judged. Dear students, hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much.